For now. Maybe about 10 minutes. Yeah. Paula. Mom, can you turn your phone on? I am. No, we can mention it.
Maybe we can slide in just a little bit on the edges so we can make some room for some of those that are coming in. Looks like we'll have a full house. Brothers and sisters, friends and neighbors, relatives, we welcome you this day to the memorial service for Brother Joel Morgan Gorbutt. I know the family appreciates you being here, and we pray that you will feel the Spirit of our Heavenly Father and our Savior Jesus Christ here with us today. I am Bishop Gordon Evans of the Central Ward of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I've been asked to conduct this meeting today by the family, and presiding at this meeting is our stake president in the church in the Goodyear, Arizona stake, President Don Ring over here in the corner. We'd like to start our service today by having an opening prayer by Dion Gorbutt, after which we will have our opening hymn, hymn number 108. Our pianist today, who's played our prelude music so beautifully, is Heidi Larkin. We appreciate so much her service. And our chorister today will be Dion Croysdale. We'll go to that point.
Uncovenanted, we come together this day in tribute and in blessing. For Joel Gorbutt. We ask at this time that thy spirit will be with all of us as we remember him, his goodness, his life, his love for his fellow man. And as my grandson, and a member of our family, we ask, Father, that thy healing influence will be with each of us, that we might gain a stronger testimony of thee and of where our beloved Joel is at this time, that he might enjoy the happiness and the thrill of being in thy presence. I ask thee, Father, at this time to bless those that will be speaking and participating in this memorial service, that they will have thy spirit with them and be able to express their love for him. And I pray for these things, thanking thee for all that we have. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen. Amen.
Our program will go as follows from this point. We'll have a eulogy reading by Tom Gorbutt, Joel's brother. A musical number will be sung by Emily Williams, and she will be singing I'll Be Seeing You. Our closing speaker today will be Joel's father, Joel K. Gorbutt. After which we'll have a musical number by Paula Gorbutt, Theodore and Ava Williams, the grandchildren, and they will be singing I Am a Child of God. And we'll go to that point in the program.
October 17th of this year, we all suffered great loss when Joel Morgan Gorbutt lost his life. As I look out here, I see that we've not lost all of Joel. When I see Emily, I see a lot of Joel, and when I see Ava or Kitty, I see a lot of Joel, and when I see Joel's dad, I see a lot of Joel, and when I see Paul, I see a lot of Joel. I recently listened to a podcast, which is what you do now instead of listening to the radio. They talked about the fact that when a woman conceives a child, she retains some of the genetic material from that child for her entire life. And that they've decided that there's an evolutionary advantage in that because that helps defend her and protect her from degenerative diseases like cancer and other things. So I like to think that Joel is still with Paula and still doing his best to protect her. Joel was a commercial fisherman. He just turned 28 years old. I'm Tom Gorbutt. There are two Joels in the story here. I am that Joel's brother. I'm the dad's brother. I used to say I was his big brother. But somehow, the years kind of shorten and converge. And I'm just his brother. And very importantly, I'm just Joel Morgan Gorbutt's brother. And I hope that you can see me, all of you, even those that I have offended, family members who I've hurt, can see me as just. Joel came into the world screaming lustily at 7:01 p.m. on October 17th in 1991. His doctor was on a date across town and couldn't be there. So he was delivered by two teams of delivery room nurses who were on shift change. One said anxious to go home, and one not quite ready to start. At that time, Joel, his father, was away at basic training in Indiana. I don't know a lot about basic training, but I would guess he would prefer the delivery room to basic training on an average day. That's what I've heard about basic training. Despite those uncertainties, those variabilities, those things that were unplanned for, Joel was his father's pride and his mother's love. As Joel grew, we came to know him as bright, brave, gentle, generous, maybe kind and generous to a fault. As the only son between two sisters, he got pressured into playing a fair amount of dress up in parties. But he derived great happiness from making his sisters happy. And so he didn't mind too much playing along. When Sarah was sad, he would do comedy routines for her. And Emily wrote this. But she said that he took the fall for some of her schemes.
Wow.
As he grew into be a man, like all young men, he saw the excitement in nature. And sometimes too much excitement and too much in nature. And that didn't stop us from being patient with him and loving him. While he was still very young, he discovered his love for fishing. And he's been fishing and crabbing all over the Pacific Ocean for the last several years. And I've seen those TV shows about how dangerous that is, and I wondered why he made that choice. But as I remember some family vacations in Yellowstone Park, Colorado, we might have gotten a taste of that when we stayed out after dark or after the wind came up, and should have come in an hour or two earlier. There are many people who he met who came to love him on the fishing boats where he worked because he was generous, hardworking, brave, and willing to learn. And some of them are at sea today. I enjoy meeting with him. He rediscovered how vibrant and pure life could be as he came to know his niece and nephew, Ava and Ted. He once said to Emily that one of the greatest gifts he had ever received was the opportunity to feel innocence again through watching the girls. He spent as much time with them as he could. He was an avid reader and enjoyed a wide variety of books, anything from Nietzsche to the Bible, which he was reading at the time that he passed. He loved music, all kinds of music, and he had a great talent for playing instruments. There was hardly an instrument that he could not play. And again, I think of his dad, who he played with the trombone in high school. They needed an extra oboist, so he just picked up the oboe, which is about as different from trombone as it can be. So there may be a genetic connection here. He loved traveling and loved to find people who were as open-minded and kind as he was. He found kindred spirits all over the world. He felt most at peace while in the Evergreens or out at sea. Disneyland was a close second. He was not shy about his need for hugs and physical affection. He sometimes looked like a tough knockabout, but he was a tender soul. His greatest blessing, and one of the things that he suffered from most in his life, was his depth of empathy for people around him. He could rejoice in other people's happiness and bet on it. But of course, the dark side of that gift, the hard side of that gift, is that he had a great capacity to feel the pain and grief. As his family, we take great comfort in knowing that he is out of danger. The dangers that beset him, the harms that came to him, can't reach him. He is, in fact, among people, among beings who love him. And as I see his face in people here who love him, I see in a very important sense that he is with us today. We believe that he is with the Lord and in the Lord's care. And I will testify to that because we're all in the Lord's care. The most difficult thing we have to do now is to live our lives as joyfully and courageously as Joel did. And I said that in the name of Jesus Christ.
I'm Joel's sister, Emily. My parents asked me to sing. You all have to bear with me. This is very hard for me to do. I love singing. We love making music together. I just hope I never have to sing for him like this. If he were sitting in that chair, I would want him to know that I will honor his struggles. But when I think of him, I will see him in everything that is beautiful and good, because he was the purest, kindest, gentlest soul. I won't remember the bad times, I will only remember the good. Let this heart of mine embraces only you. The children's carousel, the chestnut trees, and the wishing well, and I'll be seeing you in every lovely summer's day, everything that's flying away. I'll always think of you that way. I'll find you in the
I'm the other Joel. Joel's dad. Thank you for being here. It's a real testament to Joel to see all of you here, to see and to know that there are people not just here but all over the world who knew Joel, who loved Joel, and who called Joel a brother, who called Joel family. I've seen it in posts on Facebook and Instagram and other places. When I sat down here, I realized that I forgot to print my notes. So bear with me. I have to go by memory, which doesn't exist anymore. And a little clue as I was putting the slideshow together, I lost a lot of memory from about 2005 back, so a lot of these I have no idea what they're about, but they're really cool. Joel, as Tom said, was a really adventurous guy right from the start. Instead of, when we looked over at Mesa, instead of a neighborhood watch, we sort of had like a Joel watch. We had a neighbor come over after midnight on us that Joel was speeding down the sidewalk in his trike with nothing but his little red chaps on his way, I don't know where, going somewhere. And when we moved over here to Rancho Santa Fe in Avondale, we were driving up Dicer one day, trying to sort of convince the kids that it was going to be cool to move. And there was a horse stable over there that offered lessons, and Paula said, "Hey, wouldn't it be fun to ride a horse?" And Joel's only comment was, "Yeah, I've never fallen off of one of those." He just accepted that the way to learn things was, you had to fail. There was no other way to learn. It was okay. It was okay to fail. And it was okay to fail, but you had to get back up. You had to do things. And he did. He just did. And again, as Tom said, he loved to learn. He loved to read. He would read anything. He loved to learn the truth. He wanted the truth. He wanted to know what would make human beings kinder to each other. He wanted to know what he could do, how he could make other people not be mean. One of our last conversations before he left, not this last time, but the time before, to go fishing. He really, really wanted to become some kind of, I don't know, knight errant or missionary or I don't know what. He wasn't sure, he just couldn't figure it out. But he had such a conviction. He wanted to make the world a better place. He wanted to change people's hearts. He struggled so much with with unfairness, with people's inability to be kind to other people. He didn't understand it. It just didn't compute with him. He was such a kind person and would give anybody anything, no matter what it cost him. When we went to pick his stuff up, and by the way, his captain is here, Scott Hansen. We really appreciate him. He was one of the last people to help Joel as he was dying, actually. And we went to pick his stuff up, and Joel owned about 2 boxes worth of stuff and a backpack. That's it. And he made great money. You've seen the shows. Those guys make pretty good money fishing in Alaska. But if he had it and you needed it, he gave it to you. Not that he was such a softy that he would let you take from him, really. He was tough. But he would give. He just did. He just did. So he was always broke. Which made us broke. So a lot more than well, that caused Joel a problem. Because as we all know, Joel was a heroin addict. He made a choice early that was a bad choice. And it caused him to suffer from a disease that finally killed him. And that disease made him selfish during parts of his life. And that was an absolute opposite thing. He couldn't, it was just too much for him. What it did is it caused him really literally to live part of his life here on earth in hell. Because it wasn't him. It was the opposite of him. So, for that reason, I don't worry about Joel. He's already been through hell. He doesn't need to worry about that. That, in fact, that the God who I know lives, loves Joel because he's his father. He's our father. And no loving father would take a son who's already been through what Joel's been through and cause him any more hurt or any more harm. Now, I've had people say to me, how do you know? How can you say that you know God lives? How can you say that you know someone who's died is in a better place, or that they even still exist? Especially when I was in Iraq for a year, I had a lot of people ask me that. Because the subject comes up more frequently there than it does here. It's not that tough. It's not that tough to know, and it's not that mysterious. Any religion, if you read any religion's text, somewhere in there, it's gonna say, if you wanna know the truth of something, ask. It'll say it right there. It tells you all over the place. All you have to do is ask. Who do you ask? You don't have to ask a priest, you don't have to ask a shaman, an imam, a witch doctor, nobody. You ask who? God. Who else is gonna tell you but him? If you really want to know, just ask the guy who can really tell you. You have to have an open mind, you have to want to know. But I've done it, and it works. Well, how do you know? It's different for everybody. I can tell you this, for me, I've had the privilege of seeing the sunrise in a lot of really cool places. Over the Euphrates, from the roof of a mud hut over this village in Iraq, waiting for like 200 bad guys to show up. They never did, which is even cooler. The parking lot of this church most mornings, waiting for a bunch of high school kids to show up for econs. But it's always the same. Just before the sun really shows up, just as the light starts, there's this moment of perfect stillness. It's like the darkness just figured out that it's been beaten, that it can't win, and the light's coming. That stillness, that's what I feel when I ask that question or any question. And I know it's incontrovertible to me that yes, God lives. God lives. And I know that Joel right now is with my dad, with Paula's mom and her dad. And he's with our dog, Mandy, who loved him at least as much as we all do. And all of his friends who've gone before, and our grandparents. I know that. That's why I'm not crying. I don't have to worry about Joel anymore. I've worried about Joel for 20 years. And I don't. Yes, I'm saying it because he's not right here. I miss him. I won't get to see his kids, which he really would have loved to have. And there are a lot of things in this life that we want to do that I wish he could. But I know that his grandma Morgan is having fun with him. And I know that Mandy is glad to see you. So I'm okay, and I hope you will be too. All these friends, I hope you'll be happy for Joel. I do. His cousins have asked me to say too that this addiction, this heroin that ultimately killed him, you can beat it there. You can't. It's hard. It is. If anybody could have, it's Joel. Okay. Just get help. Just do it. Just do it. It was hard for Joel to get help. In the end, he really, really tried. But he's like me. I don't like help. I don't like asking. I don't like having to rely on other people for things like that. And he was the same that way. I wish I was more like Joel. Like my mom said the other day, when you got a hug from Joel, you really knew you were hugged. I don't touch people. Joel touched everything. If you look at one of these pictures of my grandmother's 95th birthday, I think, Joel's just a little bitty guy. He's got his hand on her shoulder. Little bitty guys don't touch 95-year-old men. Joel does. That's Joel. My niece wanted us to say that she has, is it Narcan? Narcan kits available if anybody needs them. You can contact us like on Facebook or.
I have them here.
I
I have them here.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, so just for fun.
So, don't let what's happened to Joel happen to you or someone that you love. Try to do it. You can. It's hard. But we love Joel. Joel loved us. That's why we're all here. So don't worry about Joel. Love. One of the things that we often say about the things that we earn in this world is that we can't take it with us, right? Love you can. It's one of the only things that you can. And Joel had so much of it. Joel had so much that, the scriptures say, build for yourself, take bags with you, build for yourself riches that you can take with you. And that's what Joel did. And we had huge bags. That's why I say I don't worry about it. I know that God lives. I know I wouldn't be here if he didn't. Over and over and over again. I felt his love and his power. And I know that Jesus Christ is our Savior. That he loved us, and it's this love that keeps the world revolving. And it binds us together and makes us all brothers and sisters and members of the same family here on earth and in heaven. And that's, again, how I know that Joel's okay, that we can be okay. So now, going forward, I know that now the responsibility is on me to be the kind of man that can be worthy to be with Joel when it's my time. I wish, and this has happened a few times in my life, I wish I could have traded places with Joel. I wish it could have been. I'm old. I've done a lot of great stuff in my life. Plenty of experience. But it never works out that way. I still have a lot of work to do. In a lot of ways, Joel's a lot better at it. I have a lot of work to do to be worthy to be with him. So that's my job. That's all our jobs. That's why we're here. So let's pass the test. Let's get the work done and fight our battles so that we can be with him. I say the same in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Lead me, guide me, walk beside me, hold me by the way. Teach me all that I must do to live with you someday. I am a child of God, and so my needs are great. Help me to understand His ways before it comes to pass. Lead me, guide me, walk beside me, help me find the way. Teach me all that I must do to live with you someday.
I just wanted to say that this was the children's primary hymnal that Emily and Joel sang at my mother's funeral. So
Well, if that doesn't say it all, nothing does. That is what it's all about. I want to let you know that I know that Joel was born with goodly parents and a loving family, and that's what this life needs. That's what we all need. That's what makes us successful. And I'm sure you can tell that the veil is very thin between where Joel is at and where we reside here today. And I know that I have felt his spirit with us here today, and I know that as his father has said so well, this is an opportunity for us to all be very joyous in the fact that we know where he's at and is residing at this point. We're now going to open up the microphone for a few minutes for those who would like to come up here and comment and share any memories that you might have of Joel or any kind words that you have. And we'll let that go for as long as we need to, maybe no longer than 30 minutes. And we'll see what happens. But please just come on up here if you feel so inclined, and we'll go to that point.
Now, we all know that Joel was a good man, and he really loves us very much. And can tell you what I see. I see a lot of people that love Joel. So, I just wanted to say, everyone, thank you for coming to say goodbye to Joel. No, it was a good thing. Because he died and he's in heaven with God. And then because he gave bad medicine because he's needed amen.
I'm just gonna take a few minutes. I've known Joel for 23 years. He's a trip. And as Sarah pointed out to me today, when you hear my voice in the house, Trishy, you come down with the towel wrapped around him because he just got out of the shower and gave me that bear hug. And it was lovely, like I'm a big woman in that hug and everything. He'd come to our house and he'd look at my husband's album collection and go, wow, Jimi Hendrix, the original. You know, just, he believed in higher power. And anyway, I miss him terribly. I've done something I want to share. If tomorrow starts without me, and I'm not here to see,
The sun should rise, you find your eyes are filled with tears for me. I wish so much you wouldn't cry the way you did today, while thinking of me, of the many things we didn't get to say. I know how much you love me as much as I love you. Each time that you think of me, I know you'll miss me too. But when tomorrow starts without me, please try to understand that an angel came and called my name and took me by the hand. He said my place was ready in heaven far above, and that I'd have to leave behind all that I dearly love. But as I turned and walked away, a tear fell from my eye. For all my life, I always thought I didn't want to die. I had so much to live for, so much left yet to do. It seemed almost impossible that I was leaving you. I thought of all the yesterdays, the good ones and the bad. I thought of all the love we shared and all the fun we had. If I could relive yesterday, just even for a while, I'd say goodbye and kiss you, and maybe see you smile. But then I finally realized this could never be. For emptiness and memories would take the place of me. When I thought of worldly things I might miss come tomorrow, I thought of you. When I did, my heart was filled with sorrow. But when I walked through heaven's gates and felt so much at home, God looked down and smiled at me from his great golden throne. He said, "This is eternity and all I have promised you. Today your life on earth has passed, but here life starts anew. I promise no tomorrow, but today will always last. And since each day is the same, there's no longing for the past. You have been faithful and trusting, so true, and he was so pure. Joel was the purest of souls. There were times you did some things you knew you shouldn't do. You've been forgiven, and now at last you're free. So won't you come and take my hand and share my life with me? So when tomorrow starts without me, don't think we're far apart. For every time you think of me, I'm right here in your heart." The kid, like I said, it was a trip. I'll miss him terribly. But he just, I don't know. Sorry, it was, yeah.
Hi guys, my name is Isaac. I had the pleasure of knowing Joel for about 10 years. I met him through my little brother Bill and a bunch of our other friends. First and foremost, I'm sure you guys lost. I think I speak for everybody here when I say, when Joel said I love you, it just kind of hit a little different. I think that was one of the first friends that I had that said I love you to me, and you just knew that you really meant it. I'm gonna kind of tell a funny story. So there was a night, I think it might have been 2 or 3 in the morning, I got a phone call from my brother, and he was with Joel, I think maybe Taylor and Nance, and they needed me to come pick him up. Please don't do that. We just need a ride. So I said, okay, where are you guys at? He said, we're in the cornfield. Cornfield, what cornfield? The one on 107th and Indian School. How do I know where to find you? Just drive by, you'll see this. So I hop in my car, I live on the straight park. I was just right across the street over here in this neighborhood. I hop in my car. It's 2 or 3 in the morning, and I drive down there. I pull into the 7-Eleven right across the street from the cornfield. And just in the darkness, just kind of across the street, I just see a head pop out. A couple feet over, I see another head pop out. I'm looking, I see Joel and Bill and my brother, and I think it was Nick, and they all come running across the street, and they don't have any shirts on or any shoes. And I was so furious. They immediately all got in the back seat, all kind of chin tucked into their chest, just kind of slunk down. And I started yelling at them, "Why are you guys waking me up? Why do I have to come get you? Blah, 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 blah." And so I yelled at them for probably 10 minutes on the road. And finally, it was just quiet. It was quiet for a little while, and I looked back, and Joel was just giggling uncontrollably. What's so funny, Joel? I don't want to tell you, but Bill farted. There was no, it didn't matter how upset I ever got with them, how angry I ever got with Joel. There was never a time where he couldn't find something funny in it. So I think now, and I know in my heart as well, that I know where Joel's at. He's in heaven where he needs to be. I think there's a special place for people like Joel in heaven. I think that, you know, as you can see with his niece and nephew, he just had kind of a childlike spirit. And I think that's where he'd serve best. I think that there's a lot of kids who maybe pass on, and when they get up there, that's probably who they want to see. And I think that's what he does. So I'm just thankful that I got to know him. This isn't the first time he's made me cry. Usually it's from laughter. But from here on out, I promise I'll only cry tears of laughter for you, Joel. Thank you.
So guys, I just want to say one more thing, and it's that I know 3 people that loved Joel very much. The first one was my babysitter, Corey, and Paula Gorbutt, and Andrew Williams. His mom and sister love him very much. And our babysitter, Corey. And anyway, thank you for hearing the thing I have to say.
Kind of hard to follow. Yeah. It's pretty good. It's good with words. It's a good kid. I don't want to be up for too long because I tend to lower a lot. I cry, but I really love my brother. He was my best friend. He's definitely a lot more than my brother to me. He said that we were young, people would sometimes when we were the same height, they would remark about how we must be twins or something. We were holding hands, or like my dad's or my uncle mentioned, anytime I was upset or crying, Joel was, doing a little tap dance or trying to make me giggle or laugh. Because he mentioned so many times to me, even when I was older, that he really truly hated to see me upset. But everybody knew. We were really, really close. I think of anybody in the family I can say with Augusto here that we were definitely the closest. I knew him, both sides of him. My brother, when he was going through really rough times, felt comfortable enough to confide in me. And he felt comfortable enough to reach out to me because he knew how close we were and he knew I would ever think different of him. There were a lot of times when he would kind of pull a fast one on me. For example, I think there was one time I decided I would go visit him in Oregon with his friends. And I made a flight plan and everything else, and I went to go see him. And he told me that there would be a room to stay in or a bed. And when I get there, Joel pulls up in a van with a couch in the back.
he decided to mention this after I got there the day before. Oh, this is where we're staying. Do you like it? I got you your own sleeping bag. Thanks, brother. But I know that he was very proud of his band. He did like build a oven in there. He had the whole setup. He was really, really proud of it, and it kind of made me proud as well to see how much work he put into it. I didn't want to share too much more, but if he was here, like my sister said, I would just want to say to you, Bubba, I love you. There's not a person here who saw you past anything more than your soul, who had a lot to give. Whether it was emotionally, monetary, even just a hug or an item or a touch to the back, your brother was there. For his closest friends, for his family, even sometimes for random strangers. I don't want any person here to think of my brother past that. That was the person that he was. And that was the person that he tried to be his whole life. He had many struggles, but one was not to love every person. He didn't look at any person differently. He saw the light in every person. And it didn't matter who they were or what they were. He was there for them. That's a big one. Please, when you remember him, don't remember him for any of the negative things or anything like that. Please only remember the positive. And all the things he did to make you smile or get well. Especially laughing at farts, that was his favorite. And I actually did want to share one more story that's kind of funny. I think it really kind of goes to show our whole relationship. We were younger, and everyone says I was a good child, but I only remember having a temper and us fighting, so I'm not sure where that came from. I do remember there was one memory. He was holding me down like a true older brother, and he was pretending like he was going to spit on my face. He was a little, yeah, that was my brother. Yeah. I think we're 4 years apart, so I think at the time, he's around 12 years old, just me at like 9. Joel was holding me down, and he had his shins on my shins, crisscrossed, and had both arms down. He accidentally spit on my face, and the look of terror on his face when he realized he had messed up was, priceless. I remember it to this day. I gathered all of my adrenaline. I buffed his shins up. I put my feet under his stomach, and I launched him all the way across the room. After that was the last time he ever tried to hold me down. And I even have a solid memory of him coming to me later and being like, I'm really sorry. I did it years later. I'm really sorry I spit on your face. I promise I don't have to do it again. Please, we don't have to fight. So I think that really goes to show that, like my dad said, my brother only learned his lessons the hard way. That was his preferred method. And I think he definitely learned that lesson well. So please, thank you for being here as well. I know it's hard for a lot of people. Nobody really wants to come to the funeral, but it means a lot for all of us. Thank you. Oh, sorry, and this is live, so just heads up. Sorry.
Good afternoon, brothers and sisters. I wasn't planning on doing this, but I got it right there. Anyway, my name is Richard Marcus, and about 7.5 years ago, I had I guess the good fortune. I can say misfortune, good fortune. It's a mixture. But anyway, I had the good fortune of being called for it. And so I didn't really know Joel, and I had a couple of times that I was in his presence, let's say, And so I had the occasion to observe him, but we never really had a conversation. So I can't really say that I knew him. But I found out about a week or so ago that for some reason he was impressed with something about my story. So I think that if there's any way for me to honor him today, I'm not sure what it was that he was impressed with, to be honest with you, but maybe as I speak a little bit, you might get the idea. And so I'm doing this in his memory and in his honor. But about 7.5 years ago, I was at a conference, a convention of sorts, and I met Paula, and about 2 or 3 days after I met her, we were in a gift shop. And she said to me 6 words, which is why I'm here today. She said, "You know I'm a Mormon, right?" And I said, "No, I didn't know you were a Mormon. How would I know you were a Mormon? You have an 8-man on or something like that?" Anyway, long story short, I am now a member of this church. And so she didn't do it for that reason. In some ways, this inactive member was a member missionary, in some ways. In some ways, like in D&C 33, she opened her mouth. And I did not really know what the heck she was talking about. But I guess a little opening occurred for me to be filled with the Spirit enough to investigate on my own before even having met the missionary other than Paula. And so I was baptized on December 9th, 2012, 6 months exactly after I met her. The reason why I think that Joel might have been impressed was that my story is more like, well, let's put it this way. Besides being a recovering alcoholic, I was a recovering Catholic. And so I was the altar boy that used to sneak church wine before we served Mass and after Mass. Well, somebody had to do something with that. And I got drunk the first time when I was 14. And by the time that I hit a pool hall, and by the time I got to college, I perfected the art of drinking and doing drugs every single day of my life. Yeah, I'm 65 years old. And it was really interesting because on September 30th, 2012 was the first time I received the Book of Mormon. And it was after I had already been doing sort of an investigation on my own. Paula helped. I would call her up and say, "What's this say about Mitt Romney and his faith is going to affect his presidency?" That says right here in the magazine. She'd yell at me. She would say, "No, that's not true. You need to watch this video," or she would send me a video. But I never had a Book of Mormon. I tried to find one, but they didn't have them in Barnes and Noble. I said, "What kind of religious aisle is this? Where you have all kinds of books on religion, even religion for dummies, all this other stuff, but no books of Mormon." I asked her about that. She yelled at me about that too. She said, "You can't buy one. They're free." I couldn't get them. I didn't know where to get them. I went to see the play Book of Mormon. I thought maybe I could find one there. I bought one. It was right on the counter. Turned out to be a script for the play. It cost me $30. Well, another one. Anyway, so when I finally, again, she yelled at me. She told me, "You put your missionary request into that LDS.org, and you put your address in there. You find out what ward you're assigned to." And I said, "What? I'm already assigned to a ward? I just go up the street. There's one right there." "You can't go there." So what are you talking about? It says visitors welcome right on the door there. Anyway, I put the address in. I found out that I was assigned to the West Hill 1 ward in the Santa Monica State, Los Angeles. And I put in my missionary, it took me about a half an hour, but I put it in my, not that it was technologically difficult to do that, but I realized at that point that I was making a commitment and it was going to change my life. And I knew that I had to do it. And I wasn't sure if I was ready to do that. So I did that. 3 days later, a lovely sister missionary showed up on my doorstep, who I'm friends with still today. They gave me a Book of Mormon. We prayed on my porch. And like Joel says, all you have to do is ask. For those of you who are not members and who are friends here today, maybe visiting for the first time, if you happen to read the King James Version of the Bible, you can go to James chapter 1, verses 3 to 5. For those of you who read the Book of Mormon every day, or perhaps you might not have for a while, I invite you to go to Moroni 10, 4, 5, and 6, and ask with open heart and real intent, should this church be true? Is this book true? And by the power of the Holy Ghost, you will receive an answer. I believe that this book is true. So I get this Book of Mormon. They invite me to pray every day and read the Book of Mormon every day, which I've done for about 7 years. That's all I did. I don't know what there is to be impressed about. That's all I did. By accident, let's say, because nobody taught me this, I found out about it ahead of time. The missionaries were quite surprised. I started practicing word of wisdom, which was a relief, since I spent most of my life practicing the word of stupid. But on October 10th, 2012, oh, it's still here. Hold on. Okay, thank you. The way I read the Book of Mormon, because it was quite interesting to me, it was very foreign to me. I don't like the Lord of the Rings. I got halfway through The Hobbit. I don't want to know about all these other lands and names and whatever. I struggled with trying to figure it out. So I did what I did. Whenever I was in trouble I've always been a Christian, but when I was in trouble, I would open the Bible and think that maybe there was an answer in there, and I would get answers. So I thought, okay, that's what I'll do with this book. And I would do a flip every day. And this book is so much alive and true that for those mostly men who refuse to ask for directions, I'm not kidding you. You could say, should I go left? Should I go right? You open the book, it says, go left, my son, go left. I mean, I'm not kidding you. So on October 10th, 2012, as I had already started to, well, let me take that back. I didn't do anything, but my language started to change. I don't mean I started to horoscopes. I stopped playing lottery. I had, for some strange reason, lost the urge to drink coffee or tea. I was drinking 6 cups a day. Well, I had to. I drank myself to sleep the night before. So this all started to very clearly that I was headed somewhere. I did not know how. All I knew was that I was going in the direction I was supposed to be going into. So I decided that in my morning prayers, I would pray and say to Heavenly Father, you know, I can't be part of this church if I'm drinking or doing drugs. And I tried so hard for many times that I knew was the wrong thing to do. I couldn't stop. I tried all kinds of tricks. I said, maybe if I drink every other day, at some point I'll be able to spread the time between drinking. Maybe if I count the number of drinks I have each day, and I start to wean myself off of it, it will work. Maybe if I don't know, maybe if I just mark the bottles and I can tell what I did the next morning, how much I had, and I can start to train myself, I can stop. And there was always a relapse, so there was always as they say, relapse, in that whole kind of world. I just picked right up where I left off. Todd had mentioned that Joel was looking for a way to change the world. He was looking for a way to have people be kinder. He was looking for a way for people to be better. I would suggest that we have a way. And maybe, again, I can't speak for Joel because I had never spoken to him, but maybe this was what I was supposed to do today, coming here to honor his memory, was to proclaim to all of you that yes, there is a way. And a lot of times it has been said that sometimes bad things have to happen for good things to happen. Sometimes somebody has to die so that others may live. So I'm going to just leave you with what I read after my prayer, October 10th, 2012. I said, and this is the way I pray, sorry. I said, Heavenly Father, look, you know that if I'm going to be part of this church, I'm going to need to change. And I don't know how to do it. I don't know how you took all these other things away from me, but I need you to take this away from me. I don't know how else to do it. And I opened the book and looked down to Alma 37, verses 45, 46, and 47. And for those of you who have scriptures on your phone, feel free to follow along. Again, I'm doing this in Joel's memory. And now I say, is there not a type in this thing? For just as surely as this directed to bring our fathers by following its course to the promised land, shall the words of Christ, if we follow their course, carry us beyond this veil of sorrow into a far better land of promise. O my son, do not let us be slothful because of the easiness of the way, for so it was with our fathers. For so it was prepared for them that if they would look, they might live. Even so it is with us. The way is prepared, and if we will look, we may live forever. And now, my son, see that ye take care of these sacred things. See that ye look to God and live. Go unto this people and declare the word, and be sober, my son. Farewell. And I say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
My name's Peter Medina. I'm a friend of the Gorbutt family. I came to know Joel through his parents, and he was a chip off the block. Said things. And I'm well aware of Joel's struggles with life and how his parents were unfailingly there for him. And towards the latter part of his life, we came together and spend a little time in reflection on various things. And I was struck by the fact that he had a capacity for love that was just beyond words. They say a measure of a successful life is defined giving and receiving of love. Well, Joel certainly know how to give love, and it's obvious today that from what I've heard and I see from the people that are here, that he's received an awful lot of it. I'm always bound by the works of Henry Scott Holland, who talks about death, the terror of death. And this sermon was given at the funeral of one of the English kings of the turn of the century. It was when death was a terrible thing. It was full of terror. And now death has no terror. God, I've got news for you. God's not dead. He's living on the inside, roaring like a lion. He's there. And death is nothing at all. It doesn't count. And if you can picture Joel's voice or imagine Joel's voice as I read this, it says, I only slipped away into the next room. Nothing has happened. Everything remains exactly as it was. I am I, and you are you. And the old life that we lived so fondly together is untouched, unchanged. Whatever we were to each other, that we still are. Call me by my old familiar name. Speak of me in the easy way which you always used to. Put no difference in your tone. Wear no forced air of solemnity. Laugh as we always laughed at the little jokes that we enjoyed together. Play, smile, think of me, pray for me. Let my name be over the household word that it always was. Let it be spoken without effort, without the ghost of a shadow upon it. Life means all that it ever meant. It is the same as it ever was. There is an absolute, unbroken continuity. What is this death but a negligible accident? Why should I be out of mind because I'm out of sight? I am but waiting for you for an interval, somewhere very near, just around the corner. All is well. Nothing is hurt, nothing is lost. One brief moment, and all will be as it was before. And how we shall laugh at the trouble of parting when we meet again. And we will meet again. We'll meet again. Mandy will be there. Barney will be there. Everyone that we've loved will be there. Because that's what it's about. It's about love. And nothing can detract from the finality of death because we draw a line on relationships. Nothing takes away from the memories that we have or the love that we hold so close in our hearts for those that depart. Good job. So thank you for being in my life.
Thank you for being in line, Peter.
I read up one of the cousins. I mean, he's probably one of the cousins that are closest with. From the very beginning, it's been nothing but fun. I don't think we've ever seen each other in the same place twice. But my first memory of them was the Christmas after he got shot here at their house in, I don't even remember where, we were really young. And he had a box of cats. And so we went out by the pool and he got a hammer, he smashed it. and it scared Paula. She came out and yelled at us, and she's like, "Oh my God, he thought he shot himself again." And like, that's what Joel was. He knew that. Like, I remember me and him laughing at us, like later, like just playing jokes all the time. And then we used to have the family reunions up in Star Valley, and I mean, me and him would go camp at the property, go shoot guns, and jump off the bridge. And I remember one time we were sleeping in the back of the truck in a camper shell, and a deer stuck its head in there, and both of us woke up absolutely terrified. The antlers got stuck, so it couldn't get out. We always go to Yellowstone. I remember one time one of our dads didn't want to stop on the way to Teton National Park. Like, I'll just pee in a bottle. So we was like, all right, man, I got this. We were probably like 8 or 9. Lydia was probably 8 or 9, I was probably 12, 13. And I think for the rest of the trip, it's just peed in bottles. Like, I thought that was the coolest thing ever. After family reunions, I mean, we didn't get in pretty good contact. I think me and him are both heroin addicts, and every time I went to rehab, he would call, and he called me from Thailand. He called me from all over the place. The last time I spoke with him was on just right around his birthday. He called me at 6 in the morning. So I'm not sure it was probably 5 his time, because I had to check into jail. And he called, and I told him happy birthday, and he just told me to keep my chin up. And then I found out 2 days later in jail that he passed away. And I mean, that was super hard. But I mean, me and him, I lived out here for a while, and we'd go rock climbing. And I don't think me and him ever slept in a bed. We always slept in hammocks in the dirt. And the last time we went on an adventure here, we went canyoneering, and we drove up there, and we stopped at a store, and the sheriff was asking us where we were going. We told him where we were going. He's like, "Well, the water's coming up. You know," he's like, "If you guys get stuck, we're not coming to get you." And I had my girlfriend at the time, kids and sisters, and both of us just looked at each other and were like, "Oh, we got this." And so we drove across this river with a bump rock my truck, and then we pull up. My girlfriend at the time, her sister was like, "Well, where's the tents?" And me and we just looked at each other, and Joel's like, "Tents are for pussies." And so me and him just sat by the campfire and just like talked all night, and girls slept in the back of the truck. And I mean, I just had a lot of fun with him. And it's, I mean, I've had a lot of people overdose, especially being an heroin addict for as long as I have been. And this one hits really close. So thanks.
Were there any others that had an extreme desire to be up here? I know how it is when you cut something short, you have something to say. Okay, very good. Well, we appreciate the remarks. And on behalf of the family, we thank you very much for being here today. It's been a very much a treat learning more about Joel, the interesting person he was and is. And we love him and his family so much. We'd like to close this meeting today, this memorial, by singing a closing hymn, "Come Ye Disconsolate," hymn number 115 in the hymn books there, after which our closing prayer will be offered by Bob Williams. And I would like to say that after the prayer proceedings, lunch, there will be a lunch reception. These curtains here, we'll open those up so that you can still see these pictures going and everything. And all who are at the service today are invited to attend. Paula was very emphatic about the fact when we made this. She said, I want everyone here. I want them to enjoy the food and to enjoy the moment after. So please feel free to join us here. I would like to express my thanks to the Sarah Ward Relief Society, particularly our president, Sister Jolene Hunt, for putting things together and for organizing things along with Paula and her friends and family and everybody that contributed to the lunch. And thank you again for coming.
Afternoon, everybody. My name is Bob Williams. I was fortunate enough to be Joel's brother-in-law and share some wonderful experiences with him and the family that welcomed me so warmly. I'd ask that you bow your heads as we participate in our closing prayer. Lord Almighty, we are here today, definitely under difficult circumstances, but we know that you will shepherd us, you will guide us, you will show us the way. We beg you, Lord, to draw comfort towards those who grieve when we leave this place. We ask, Lord, that you give us peace in our heart, that you give us the remembrance of the love and the life. Lord, we know that in the absence of Joel's physical presence, it will be challenging, it will be difficult, but we ask that those who loved and lost him to remember that which brought them joy. His effervescent personality, his upbeat demeanor, his eminent generosity. You just were happy to be around, Lord. We ask that you instill these memories in our hearts and not those of the loss of his physical form. Lord, give us eternal hope, the touch of your guiding light, and the forgiveness of our souls. In Jesus Christ's name, amen.